It's back. We're back. Oh! Hello and welcome to Team Profile and Projections. Batting leadoff, the worst team in baseball history, your Chicago White Sox. They finished last year 41 and a buck 21, only 53 and a half games back of the division. They did miss the postseason. They had the worst record at home, the worst record on the road, the worst record in extras, one-run games, runs scored per game, run differential. Last year, they were 27th in our TPPs, and it got worse. What a direct TV rewind. God, they need it over there. If you're ready to transform your baseball watching experience, head to directtv.com to learn more. Coach Trev, they had to add some guys. They had to.
Bob, they did, and the guys they brought in, they're on a contending team. These are guys that are going to help out. I don't know how much they're going to move the needle on the White Sox, but Martin Perez comes in, a 1-year, $5 million deal. He has a mutual option for 2026. Josh Rojas comes in on a 1-year, $3.5 million. Bryce Wilson, who, relief pitcher, might start some games. He comes in, 1-year deal. Mike Talkman, 1-year deal. Austin Slater, 1-year deal. They also traded for a few guys. Tyler Gilbert comes over in a trade. Remember, he was with the Phillies, but he threw a no-hitter for the Arizona Diamondbacks, your Snakes. Cam Boozer comes over, and Matt Thaiss comes over from the Cubs for cash. They also selected Penn Murphy, your favorite name in the big leagues, off of waivers. They got a bunch of guys on minor league deals. They're trying to put together a roster, Jake, but they've also lost some guys. Tell me who they lost.
Those minor league deals, a couple talking baseball celebrities, Karinchak, Bobby Dahlbeck. Who they lost? They lost Mike Soroka. The season-long stats might not impress you, but he actually was doing work in that bullpen. I'll tell you what, Garrett Crochet was doing work. They might feel that. How was he on the worst team ever? That scares me a little bit. And then some other bodies. Your guy Shoemake, Amaya, De Los Santos, Nicky Lopez, Yon Moncada, man, that guy went from a guy to figuring it out. As we record this, he remains unsigned. Looks like your guy Dominic Leone's retired. That's who they lost. So after all of that, these White Sox looking to bounce back. I know Luis Roberts still in the lineup. What's that lineup look like?
We think he's going to be there at the beginning of the season. We're recording this a little bit early in the month of February. I want to preface this by saying this is Fangraphs projected lineup, so White Sox fans don't yell at us too much. We're projecting here. Talkman in right field, Luis Robert in center field, and Andrew Benintendi in left field. You're like, okay, like we can make that work. Okay. Andrew Vaughn. Okay. Miguel Vargas over from the Dodgers. Don't know exactly where he's going to play. They have him listed at DH. Josh Rojas at third base. Lennon Sosa at second base. Brooks Baldwin at shortstop. Colson Montgomery might be coming up. And catcher Corey Lee on the bench. Zach Deloach, Nick Maton, Austin Slater, and Matt Thaiss. Other names to watch is Oscar Colas, Cuban ball player, Bobby Dahlbeck, Dominic Fletcher, Colson Montgomery, who I mentioned, and Brian Ramos. Jake, what about the rotation in the bullpen?
You mentioned Martin Perez comes over, a guy you could see at the trade deadline. Johnny Cannons. Let's talk about him more. Davis Martin, sure. Sean Burke, Bryce Wilson, and then there's going to be a lot of people getting involved in this rotation this year. Drew Thorpe, your guy Jairo Iriarte, first pronunciation that'll get people mad. Nastrini, Nick Nasty, sure. In the bullpen, it's been labeled that no roles are claimed. Justin Anderson, I'll let you talk about Frazier Ellard while I talk about Prelander Baroa, Gus Varland, Steven Wilson, Cam Boozer. Trev, I think we need to be honest with the people at this point. This is wild. Team profile and projections are a little daunting every year. To actually look at the bullpens, look at the depth, who's getting called up. And with the Chicago White Sox literally coming off the worst record of all time. It's not a hopeful season. It's a season that you hope leads to hope, but I mean, dude, what's this spring training like? Like what? I don't know, man.
So, okay. In 2024, I think things were just really bad because there wasn't necessarily a signaling that it was a complete rebuild. Like they were, I believe they went into spring training in 2024 saying we're going to be competitive in a down AL Central. Things spiraled down quickly, and when you're in that situation, I've been on bad teams before, Jake. I've never lost 121 games, but
Yeah.
I believe I lost 100 games at one point. It's bad. People give up. There's it is a time where you need to be selfish, but that's not a good brand of baseball to play. And you show up to the park, it's just not the same. So I think last year, do I think this team is going to lose 121 games this year? I do not. I think it's very hard to do that. It's hard to lose 121 games. They did it last year with Garrett Crochet and Eric Fedde on their roster. Those guys are both gone now. Fedde with the Cardinals. I think going into spring training this year, I think all the players there understand a couple things. All the guys I mentioned on 1-year deals are saying, "Hey, I got to ball out. I got to do it. I want to continue to stay in this league. I got an opportunity for playing time, and I'm gonna do my best to take advantage of that." There's also going to be some prospects that come up and they're going to say, "Hey, man, I want to show that I can play at the big league level." So I think there's a better understanding of where they stand coming in to 2025. And even that alone, I think will lead to more wins. Just understanding where you're at. Okay, I'm going to have to be selfish pretty much all year. There are going to be times, yeah, I'll play some team baseball, we'll do it. But like you understand going in, man, I got to put my best foot forward. They bring in Will Venable. He's a rookie manager. I just think the message is going to be, well, okay. What they're probably going to say actually is, why not us? Let's shock the world. Let's
Mm.
show everyone you guys are big leaguers. In the back of their heads, they're going to understand that they're not going to make the playoffs, but let's go out there and figure out a way to get each and every single person on this roster a better standing in Major League Baseball. I think that's got to be the message. Let's not do what we did last year. It's embarrassing. You don't want to do that. I literally would say that if I was the manager. Do you guys want to embarrass yourselves out there? Like, that's not who you are. You guys are all Major League Baseball players. Let's go out there and do it together. That's kind of the message they're going to have to do this year. It's not a great message. I'm sure White Sox fans hate to hear that, but they understand what's going on.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of a White Sox fan who 2005, they won the whole thing. A couple years removed from being favorites in the Central, and this rotation is built up, and the whole team is to where they are now that, hey, for any team in that spot, it comes down to opportunity and what's going to happen next. And I guess there's some solace in, man, there's a ton of youth on this team, and some things are going to click, and you probably need to build off that. And like you're saying, to lose 121 again, I don't think that's in the realm. Maybe I'm wrong, and oh my God, if I am, that's two of the worst seasons you could possibly put together. I guess for me, I see some young pitchers that it's like, okay, like let's see what happens. Jonathan Cannon threw some innings last year. Same with Davis Martin. Thorpe was a trade piece from Dylan Cease. Iriarte, like he's got some arm talent as a real prospect of sorts. Where I get scared, Trev, because it was something the Oakland Athletics for a couple years kind of had this moniker of like, how bad is it? They went from 60 and 102 to 50 and 112. So again, not too far off. So last year, again, this is if you're White Sox goal setting, going from what the Oakland A's did, 50 and 112 to 69 and 93, that let's see, I think Oakland's coming up pretty soon, but they had some young guys happen, like Lawrence Butler, Brett Rooker had his breakout with Oakland, that if you're the White Sox, you're going to need some of those, and that's going to help you turn the page into whatever the next spot of White Sox baseball is, I guess what this is going to make White Sox fans laugh, because this is like saying, I don't know, you made a cake, all the ingredients are wrong, and you don't like the frosting. I'm worried about the bullpen just because I think there's obviously the rotation in the lineup aren't on the level they need to be. That Oakland Athletics team that was 50-112, every time they went to the bullpen, it was just this fear factor of how are we going to blow this game? Like, who's going to come in and walk the park? Who's going to come in and get lit up? That obviously there's a lot of scary parts to this, but I think when you are a limited roster, for lack of a better term, when you don't have that, that's the scariest feeling. That, baseball happens, and there's going to be days, hey, your starter's on and you hit a 3-run homer. If it's 3-1 in the 5th, you need to feel like you're going to win that game, and I'm worried about that because I currently do not see that.
Well, from all of the pitching staff, essentially, that's why you bring in a guy like Martin Perez, who is going to at least give you some quality Major League Baseball innings. Like you need to, the games need to end. Like I think I watched the White Sox team a lot last year, and it was tough, man.
Yeah.
Like there were times where I felt this is pretty crazy. I hadn't seen a team kind of subpar in so many different phases of the game. So they're gonna try to improve on all of that. I think Chris Getz has had such an interesting time as the general manager of the White Sox. He's had to trade away some big names. I think things sped up on him when trying to trade Garrett Crochet during last season. He started to ask for an extension if he got traded, or else he wouldn't pitch in the playoffs. That's a curveball that a lot of GMs probably hadn't had to deal with, especially a guy like Chris Getz, who's like in a lose-lose situation. He's built up the farm system from 2023. Last year, I believe my best friend Keith Law had him at number 11 from 27th. And then this year, he's actually dropped them down a little bit, which is tough. And he cites the fact that there's been some prospects that have just taken a step backwards.
I love that.
I don't love that. So there's not a lot of immediate help coming up either in the prospects. I don't know if you consider Drew Thorpe a prospect. I guess maybe you would. Not sure if he's past that threshold yet. Colson Montgomery's going to have a chance. Gets out of himself at some point this year. Probably going to see him at shortstop. They're excited about that. They got a couple of lefties who are the two highest ranked lefties in the minor leagues. So, you have some pitching coming up. Is it going to be this year? Like, I don't know. It kind of depends on what they want. I would love, if I'm a White Sox fan, let me see these dudes.
Yeah.
At the same time, you're like, okay, if you do that, you might burn a year of eligibility. How smart is that? There's a lot of things going on. It's not going to be a fun year. It's got to be better than last year, though. It cannot be as bad as last year. It just can't be. The odds are just against that happening again. I think. I'm not good with odds.
I think, yeah, I know that's neither of our strengths at the end of the day. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I guess again, I keep jumping back to the Oakland Athletics, who were in kind of a laughing stock area, and last year they weren't. That the storyline of this team is who's going to take advantage of opportunities. And I think another team that comes to mind is the Washington Nationals. Like the Washington Nationals have had some young players that have taken advantage of their opportunity the past couple years, like Luis Garcia Jr., Jacob Young. And then in their pitching staff, there were guys, DJ Hurst and Jake Irvin, that, weren't necessarily the prospects you heard about, but they got major league opportunities. They got reps in, and they became, now guys that they're banking on to take the next step. That is going to happen. Like that is just how baseball works, with having competitive young players and giving them the opportunity, that some guys are going to learn and grow and get better. That's the win out of this. I think obviously they're going to be an interesting team, I think, throughout the year for trade needs. Like, we talk about it a lot. The White Sox aren't going to have to wait to the deadline. If Martin Perez gets out to a hot start and a team needs a starter, You know who Martin Perez is. He's 33 turning 34. If he looks sharp, cash in on that. You wonder if Benintendi could become a positive. He hit 20 homers last year, but every other number is down. But I think everything circles around Luis Robert. Like, this was a guy, Cuban Mike Trout, like we saw a season or two where you saw the potential of, one of the most talented players in the league that I think if you're a White Sox fan, you need that story to wrap up with a happy-ish ending. Like, if he can come out and have a big first half and you can trade him for 3 more prospects, and now hopefully this year is the year before the exciting, hey, we've got young guys we want to watch. I want to see Colson Montgomery take the next step. I want to see Kyle Teal, one of the big prospects they got in the Crochet trade. Like, I know a year away from being a year away is a scary saying in any sport, but that's what you got to have circled if you're hoping to take this rebuild to the next step. You need to cash in on Luis Robert and have some things pop up, because otherwise, man, it's bleak.
I don't got much to add, Pop. I thought Corey Lee, I liked watching him play. I thought he was going to have a great year. He didn't have a great year. In fact, just really hasn't found his footing in the big league. So, yeah, Kyle Teal could, start to really cut into the playing time and be the guy. Then what do you do with him? I think that probably takes us to the over-under, Pop.
The DraftKings over-under. Hey, if you're watching basketball, you're watching baseball right now, the NBA season's rolling as we're looking at the White Sox with all new ways to get in on the action with our partners at DraftKings. Right now, all new customers who bet just $5 will get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you use code TALKIN. Monster slams, dishing the rock, cleaning the glass, get behind your favorite players, and the prop bets you can make on DraftKings, the home of NBA player props. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use code TALKIN. Bet just $5 on any wager and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's code TALKIN only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Trev, a couple other things I want to say. You mentioned it briefly. I think a lot of our listeners know. Hopefully we have new listeners. We do pre-record these to get ahead of them. We don't make one every morning. So we'll see if there's any other ads or something to the White Sox. I think, unfortunately, they're not super in risk of that. But sometimes these over-unders get tricky because we start looking at teams that have, okay, are they going to add something else, or they just signed this guy? Again, I don't think the White Sox is going to change a lot. It is maybe the lowest over-under I've ever seen for a baseball team.
51.5, Pop.
I mean,
I think let's have some fun with these ones kind of at the lower end of our rankings.
Sure.
I think we should answer them at the same time.
Okay.
I always thought that was fun.
You're worried I might convince you.
No, I have my answer.
My storytelling ways.
Yeah.
51.5. Give me a second, because that's low.
It's low.
And I guess, we should, again, the schedule's more balanced, but the AL Central,
has improved.
The Royals have seemingly improved. The Guardians are always kind of the Guardians. Your Twins are kind of your Twins now. Tigers, people think are going to be better. Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Over. That's a low number, man.
It's very low. They have to improve. It's just that would put them at, here's my math, 51 and 111. 100 Bilbo Baggins.
Okay.
Losses? That's crazy. I'm taking the over, Pop.
They were 30th in average, 30th on base, 30th in OPS, 30th in runs, 30th in homers, 25th in starting pitching ERA, 28th in bullpen ERA. I mean, again, a lot of it's unfortunately on track, but it's gotta something's got to give, right? The baseball gods have to give in at some point.
There are times, Jake, when I'm playing tennis now, you're at the net and you're kind of figuring things out. You're looking at court awareness, where your partner's at, right? You're playing doubles. Sometimes you'll be called out. He's in a blender. Like you just,
Right.
That I think that's what happened last year. I
Yeah.
think that White Sox team got caught in a blender. They didn't know what the heck was going on. It snowballed quickly. I don't think that's going to happen this year. I think they know exactly where they're at. They got court awareness of where they're at, and I think it'll be more smooth sailing. Doesn't mean they're going to, all of a sudden be competing for the division, but I think they're going to win over 51.5 games.
I just tried to do fake math in my head to try to make it feel better, and I was like, do they have to win 2 games a week? Like, I don't know. It's crazy where the bar has moved, but unfortunately, they've done.
If they go 10-20, that's not how many games you play. 10-17 or something like that.
Right. If they win 10 games a month, they're good, right?
They're good.
They're more than
They'll smash it.
Yeah.
They'll smash 9 games.
God, that's scary in a little while because they did lose Chris Flexen through 160 innings for them. Fetty had a great
They lost
ERA.
all of their innings.
Crochet
they lost all
was
of them,
good.
Jake.
That I don't know. This is the true. If you live in that world, this is the true gambler's test. Because I don't know. I hope for Chicago White Sox fans, a proud fan base. I mean, they should be a big market team. Let's get Luis Robert bouncing back. Let's get some of the young guys. I've always had a little bit of Andrew Vaughn stock. I feel like he controls the plate, but it's never fully come together. And I think the good news is the baseball gods, something has to come together. Unless they run that back, man, then White Sox, you're allowed to join on with another fan base for a little bit because no fan deserves that. Anything else on the way out, Coach?
Chicago's a beautiful city in the summer.
Beautiful city in the summer. Let's get some baseball. Let's get some Know what they need? They need maybe my guy Prelander Baroa.
It's Prelander.
They need him. For me, it's Prelander. They need someone like that to go on like a 13 inning scoreless streak, and we're like, hey, look at this. If that's the goal we're setting. Hey, Chicago White Sox fans, let us know what else we're looking for or missing this year. For you guys, if you're these fans are, if you're ready to transform your baseball watching experience, head to directtv.com to learn more. See you guys.